Hello, and thank you for being on here today. I know a lot of you are business owners and some of you are part of the Chamber of Commerce, etc. But I just want to reach out and share this presentation. And of course, at the very end, you can ask questions. You can even send messages if you're doing this live, but we're going to make this into a recording as well to follow up. But this is about people who own businesses and you're thinking maybe, hey, I want to sell my business. Maybe I can sell it in 2021. Not sure when I'm going to exactly do that, but maybe you want to sell in 2021 and you're wondering, given all the things that have been going on for the last year with COVID and changes in the election and all that sort of stuff, how that might impact it. Well, a lot of things go on every year, and this has been a really strange one in 2020, but nonetheless, there's value in everything we've got, and I'm going to share with you some ideas, some tips, and I even have a follow-up at the very end. If you'd like a free bonus, you can reach out to us and request your 2021 Business Seller Success Guide. But let me see if this is useful to you as well. So we're going to go over the basics of what's happening in the marketplace. We're going to give an overview of buying and selling, and so we might have some people that are looking to buy businesses on this call as well, I hope. We're going to focus on value, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the effects of COVID-19 and what's happening out there. So if you're live, you can send us a chat box, and I'm going to try and answer some of those questions as we go. So reach out to us as you go. Thank you very much. Look, first of all, every business has a value, even in coronavirus era. And I just want you to know that your business has value. I've talked to people that have actually been performing in the red sometimes when they've come to us. Maybe they've had health issues. There's value in every business. Being realistic about that is important, understanding the marketplace. But an awful lot of the clients that we work with are, making $1 million, $2 million, on up to about $30 million in revenues. But we have a team of people that will work on even the smallest of businesses, and we have 15 agents that are around the state, and a few people out of the state, and even one person out of the country. So it's kind of cool. We work with a lot of different companies, and we have a lot of different people that specialize in different industries as well. So realize, yes, your business has value. We've been talking to the different banks, because the banks are the ones that sort of help finance these deals. In fact, they very much finance about 20% of the deals that go on, and other times it's times for business sellers to have to do their own financing if the records are such that we can't get the banks to approve them. But the banks looked at it, and I talked to one of the bankers over at Huntington Bank. He said, look, we look at things as three different buckets in a sense, and there's these essential businesses, and they just keep running on and on. They're doing well. There's the closed and reopened ones. That's sort of like the restaurants, and there's still a major demand for food service and restaurants, we're finding out there, no matter what. And then there's some that are permanently, or at least for the long term, impacted. And the banks, are going to be really excited about financing the central ones, and they're talking about some of the ones that were closed and reopened if they feel pretty good about it. A lot is unknown for the next few months, but still, I feel confident to, if you're ready to get out of your business, you're looking to move on to something else, to consider talking to a really professional intermediary or business broker or M&A advisor, and sit down and chat about what your options are, what the market's likely to do and perform on it, as well as talking to an SBA lender about pre-qualifying your business. We'll get into a little bit of that in just a little bit. So again, feel free to reach out and share any questions, and we'll be looking for it. I've got Jennifer and Stacy that are also trying to keep an eye out for questions as they come in there. So very, very good. So anyway, we'll take a look at that. Now, here's the news, and this is something that came out a couple of years back. There was a little research. There are a lot of businesses that go on the market, and when the expectations are improperly put together, if the selling package isn't right, or if the price isn't right, or there's things wrong, a lot of businesses don't sell. Forbes magazine had an article. You can look it up, October 24, 2016. And in there, they show why 90% of businesses never sell. Probably a more realistic organization, the Exit Planning Institute, really specializes in exit planning. We ourselves are certified exit planning professionals, and we help business owners in the long term prepare their business for sale. And there's a lot to doing that. And on the other hand, we work with a lot of people that just say, hey, I'm ready to sell my business. What do we got and what do we got going on? But Exit Planning Institute does a lot of research, and they found that about 20 to 30% of businesses actually sell if they go on the market. And that means that 70 to 80% of businesses fail to sell, and it's tragic. But a lot of times they're poorly written up, they're poorly marketed, they're maybe priced inappropriately. Sometimes people want too much for the businesses, etc. And it's got to be based on what the market's willing to pay for. BizBuySell is one of those websites that does a lot of selling, and they sell franchises, and they're trying to get you to sign up all these different stuff. But they're a good resource because they're out there around the nation, and even they show that sort of 1 out of every 5 listings go on the market sells in a particular year. So that's about 20% as well. So just for the advice, it's important to prepare whether you're going to sell your business yourself, which we would love if you came to our firm and worked with us, or go to a really certified business intermediary or somebody that's really great. But sit there and work with somebody that really knows the industry. If you want to sell it yourself, there's a lot of work towards it, but realize that there's a battle out there because there's so many businesses. I last checked just on one website in Florida and got a count of nearly 3,000 businesses for sale today, the day of this presentation. So, okay, let's go forward and talk about it, how business brokering compares to residential and commercial. So in several different states, and I can give you a lot. I'm out of the Tampa market right now. I've worked through the East Coast for an awful lot of the work that I've done, but our headquarters is in Tampa. In Florida and in at least 13 other states right now, it's required that one has a real estate license to sell a business. And so while that is something we have in common with people that sell houses and even commercial real estate, and by the way, this is different from commercial, although we sell commercial real estate, especially when it's tied to a business, that the license itself doesn't necessarily prepare somebody well for selling businesses. In fact, the websites that we use, the valuation methods that are utilized, the contacts, the individuals, the people buying businesses are very, very different from the database of somebody that's looking to buy a house for the first time. And quite often, sometimes the people that are looking to buy some real estate to build an office space or to even build a startup business. We're in the process of selling ongoing cash flowing businesses that are making money so that somebody can get into business and take over, whether they're looking to expand or grow an existing company or get into business for the first time ever, and need cash flow to sustain their family, their households, etc. So while business sales require a real estate license, they're highly secreted. People don't know that the business is for sale, so they'll say things like, a manufacturing firm for sale in the greater Florida market, or the Massachusetts market, or the Colorado marketplace, or maybe the Denver market. If it doesn't give it away, this industry netting, 500,000, grossing, $3.7 million. Been in business for 25 years, specializing in maybe some sort of particular manufacturing, but not giving away the industry and the name of the business, etc. So, and the valuation is based on performance, whereas a lot of the valuations for houses and even real estate, commercial real estate, is based on a whole different type of formulation. So just to get that out, make sure that if you're going to an intermediary or professional that is licensed, that they also are experienced and really have the knowledge that they can deliver to help sell your business. Okay, buyers and sellers want the same thing, sort of, okay? Like everybody who's got a business deserves to get the best price for their business. So you want, the best price, and it's got to be realistic, but it's fair to ask for a fair and attractive price for your business. Well, buyers want the best business for the price. And so part of the process that we deal with is not only talking about the quantitative, the numbers on the tax returns, which we have to transform into showing owner benefit, because we know, what's on your taxes is a representation of what you're telling to the government, so you don't have to pay a lot of taxes. And of course, your P&Ls are presented to the tax firm so that they can create those tax returns. That there's some work that has to be done to help the buyer know, hey, this business is pretty attractive. It's making a lot more money. The typical buyer that's not worked in corporate America, or has worked in corporate America or from the government, or even been in the military, they're looking at their bottom line tax returns, and that's how much they earn. Well, the tax returns on a business, as you know, might show the small number, and then you've got to add back depreciation, amortization, interest expense, one-time expenses for a remodel, maybe there's a payment to a spouse, there's a salary to yourself. and on and on. We go through a lot as business owners, if you understand what I'm talking about. But the fact is that there's this balance between people wanting to buy businesses that are great businesses for the price, and if we can help you present that, then that's a very positive factor that's going to help you drive the sale of your business. But who buys businesses, by the way? And there's a lot of different people that buy businesses. We break this down into 6 categories, and you can break it down to many, many more. Some people break it down to just 2 categories, but I'll talk to you about some of the people and the groups that generally reach out to us to buy businesses. The expanders. That would be, I use pizza restaurants, not because we sell a lot of pizza restaurants, but because it's something that everybody's experienced. Let's say somebody has 12 pizza restaurants and they want to expand into, the Chicago marketplace and get into the more pizzas in there. And they might say, hey, I'm looking to buy a couple more in Chicago, and can you help me find some other businesses? Well, they're expanding their brand. They might even convert, Mamma Mia's into the Chicago-based new name or whatever it is out there and convert them over. So they're looking to expand. Synergizers are a little bit like that. And again, if I use the pizza format for a minute, let me think of an example. Maybe somebody has been doing frozen pre-cooked up pizzas, and so they're going to buy an existing pizza restaurant to also have the preparation in the kitchen and all that sort of stuff, and also deliver this new concept. Or maybe they have a catering business and they want to get into it. Again, we don't specialize in pizza restaurants, but we use that as a synergy. Private equity groups are much larger companies. A lot of times they're reaching out to us for businesses that are showing an earnings before the interest and depreciation, amortization, etc., of about $1.5 million. So those are usually a little bit bigger than some of the businesses that reach out to us on a regular day-to-day basis, but we certainly deal with a lot of them as well. And so they have a high threshold, and maybe they're trying to build a large statewide network or a worldwide or a countrywide network like janitorial companies for commercial cleaning. And so they're trying to buy up, ones that are generating $10 million in revenues and netting $1.5 million in different districts throughout the East Coast of the United States, for example. Corporate refugees, that's one of my favorite groups. That's what I used to be. I worked for corporate America and big oil, working for Texaco, Shell, Saudi Aramco. And I got tired of being the corporate guy because I wanted to be my own person, and I built out Legacy Venture Group in 2004. But I was a corporate refugee, and so we meet a lot of people that are leaving corporate America. They got great skills, great abilities, great insights, and yet they have this longing a lot of times to call their own shots, implement their own ideas, and take credibility and get the reward for doing the right thing. Howard Schultz was that exact same sort of thing. He was a corporate refugee, then went to work with the Starbucks people, then left and went later and bought the Starbucks group and turned into the company thereafter as well. Enterprising veterans are a lot in many ways like the corporate refugees. They're leaving the military. They've got these great resumes of leadership and skills and training and team building and all these great abilities. Sometimes their resumes don't exactly line up with the different jobs that they're looking for or hoping to find. And at the same time, they say, hey, I want to call my own shots, and I want to use my leadership skills and experience to be a leader. So, an acquiring existing business. And then the last group are visa seekers, and they're a lot like the last 2 groups I met or referred to in many, many ways, except for they're coming from other countries and they need a good, well-documented business that's making a reasonable income. Many of these, especially these last 3 that I mentioned, are usually individuals that have families, they have spouses, kids, mortgages, or home payments, or rent, car payments, etc. And so one of the great benefits versus starting something from scratch or buying a franchise and starting that from scratch is that they're looking for a business that will give them some income so they know, hey, not only do I not have to sweat bullets deciding whether this business is going to make money, but they're also not sweating bullets to know that, hey, the lights are going to stay on at the home and my kids can stay at camp and keep the braces on, and I can keep the 2 cars in the parking lot or whatever their needs are on a personal standpoint. And they don't always get that with a startup, and certainly with a startup and with a franchise either. A lot of times people say it's 2 to 3 years, and I've met people that have had really great strong named franchises, as an example, that are 5 years into operations and still haven't crossed the positive threshold where they're paying off the bank notes and paying themselves a reasonable amount of money. And I'm not knocking startups by far or franchises. I got some great friends that sell franchises, but I'm just sharing that there's a strong market for people saying, hey, I want to get in right away and make this happen. Oh, I'm jumping ahead on my slides, and I didn't mean to do that, but let me go back 1 second and talk about that. So there's the 5 C's. We're going to talk about that, of confidentiality. So what we know is that if you own a business, in most cases, there's a lot of people that should not know that your business is for sale. And there's a lot of different reasons that that's important. So creditors are one. It's not a really big one, but you might be in a situation where you're paying 30, 60, 90 days out for your supplies, and that's working really, really well. And a creditor finds out, hey, heard you're for sale, and our policy is that, we want to make sure we get paid, and we've been burned in the past by people selling, and I know you wouldn't do it, but our policy is that we've got to ask you now to pay cash payment right up front. The chain of suppliers is another one. It's very tempting to go and talk to your delivery guy for or one of your suppliers of services or products and say, hey, you know anybody in our industry that's looking to buy? And they're really great people. They know a lot of people, but all of a sudden the whole marketplace, especially your competitors, know your business is for sale because they're going to go around saying, hey, is there such and such for sale? Again, we use a non-disclosure agreement whenever we reach out and reach to people, so they're signing this form out there. Competitors is another one in the group right there. So the competitors might say, hey, why go to Joe's business or Maria's business or Angelo's business or whatever, because I hear they're selling. They're going out of business, man. Check it out. Look at this thing. You can't tell on the website. Maybe you can, maybe you can't, but they're going out. Start turning your business over to me. You need somebody that's going to be in the market for the long run. And I hate to see them going out, but that's the way it is. Customers, the same sort of thing. They got to make decisions. Hey, if you're selling, are you going to be around tomorrow? Are you going to be able to fulfill my order? And are you going to be able to take care of me in the long run? So they might start looking around. And then the crew, the employees. I try to make all these start with the 5 C's, all letters, so I had to sort of think through how to make that all happen. But the crew, the employees in the business, I found that the shadows of monsters are much larger than the monsters themselves. So the monster being that, hey, it's going to sell, and all of a sudden this conversation starts going in the workplace if they find out the business is for sale, that, oh my gosh, they're looking for somebody they can bring in family members, we're all going to be fired, all this sort of stuff, and they start looking for other jobs, and some of the people that especially the management, the key people are worried about the future of what's going to happen to their lives. And so generally, in most cases, we don't share that information with anybody. And there's some remedies, and we have some conversations if word should get out. And we've had a couple cases where people have decided they would talk to their employees and let them know ahead of time, and they've delivered it in the right way. But in general, people don't want the heartburn, the headache, or the worry, and the employees. And the same thing, one of the key things is, and we'll get into that too, but the businesses just don't sell, you don't put it on and sell it a week later. It can go on for a long period of time, so that sort of long drag of anxiety works through people. And many times if you say, we're going to sell our business, and then 8, 9, 10 months go by, people are like, oh, I don't know, I can't deal with the nervousness of this. So a lot of times people sell their business, have a meeting that afternoon, and introduce a new buyer and say, hey, we've worked hard to find a really good replacement. I needed to get out, or wanted to get out, or long to retire to spend time for whatever I'm doing, or moving on to my next adventure, and I want to introduce a really great person. It's taken us months to find just the perfect person that's going to care about you guys, etc. And there's a way to make them feel good. Okay, there's 2 components. A lot of times you're saying, well, what's my business worth? I want to get as much as I possibly can from my business, right? And so there's 2 critical components to that factor in general, and one is, how much is it making? So you brought in $2 million in gross revenues, and you netted $350,000 in profit, let's say, as an example. Well, isn't there just this magic number that you multiply times that number once you get to it? And there's a lot of factors that go into it. And the other calculation that goes into it is the amount of risk, perceived risk, how people see it. If you're so much the business owner, they're going to like, well, how do I fulfill his or her shoes in this business? Or is the industry changing, or dynamics going on? So in their minds, they're going to calculate how much the business is really making and what is the risk. All right, so this is a common slide for all of us that are trying to show businesses. Show me the money. You might remember this movie, Jerry Maguire, played by Tom Cruise, and the football player Rod Tidwell, who's Cuba Gooding Jr. And he's like, "Show me the money, man. Show me the money. I want to know about the money." And almost everybody buying a business is focused on that. The reason they're buying a business versus a startup or buying a franchise is they need to know, hey, can I keep the lights on at home, and can I keep this business afloat when I take over? So let's talk about this other thing out there, $100 as an example. And I'm going to talk to you now about why you should put everything possibly you can onto the books and records of your business. And this might not apply to you if you're listening to it, but I guarantee there's somebody else that's listening to this that says, well, I got some stuff I don't put on the books and records. I don't want to pay taxes if I don't have to. So let's just go through this seminar, this little bit real quickly. Let's imagine $100 doesn't make it on the books. Let's say you're paying 30% tax, and that's high in a lot of cases. Probably it's 20 or 25. Let's say $30. That's $30 you don't pay. Or we could talk about if it was $10,000, and that's $3,000 you save in taxes, right? Well, if the business sells for 3 times earnings, and that's not a big stretch per se, you're losing 3 times that $100,000, 3 times $100,000 that didn't show up on the bottom line. You're losing $300. So $30 versus that you save in taxes versus $300. And again, if you make this $10,000, you paid 3,000 in taxes, but you're missing out on $30,000 in value for a company. It adds up big, and it's very easy to not want to pay more than you have to, or you get away on it. But be cognizant, be aware that, especially right now and near the beginning of the year, that it's probably worthwhile having a thought about making sure that everything you've got on there is presented in a proper way. Let's talk about some of the things that drive the value of your business that people see. Imagine first of all that we've got 2 different businesses, and I'm going to switch like 3 different slides here. So imagine there are different businesses in each time, not that these overlay to each other, but it can work like that. But imagine 2 businesses, same industry, both about 20 years old. They earned $1 million in sales and netted $150,000 to the owner. Okay, so last year in 2020, $1 million, right around that, netted $150,000. Now you'd say, well, the same industry, and they've both been around for, let's say, 20 years or whatever, they should be the same value. But imagine that 5 years ago, this business was doing, many, many, many more millions of dollars, and it's been dropping steadily year after year after year. On the other hand, business B has gone from a small amount and every year goes up and up and up and up. So they're both netting the same amount of money, and they're both going in different directions, but the gross sales and net are the same. How would the market look at sales going down versus going up? If you were looking to buy a business, which one would you choose? All right, let's do the same scenario, and these are just to give you a couple examples. Imagine 2 businesses again, different businesses than the last 2 that we did, but the same industry, same area, blah, 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 blah. Here, the owner takes 6 weeks vacation every year with her family or his family. The other one is a hard-working individual, no vacations except for time to take off in this last year for heart attack recovery. I'm using some overviews, but I'm pulling from real-life examples. I had a gentleman that exactly did that, spent almost 7 or 8 weeks out recovering from his heart attack, and proud. It wasn't 20 years. He hadn't taken a vacation in 40 years. He was a hard driver, type A, making a lot of money, but it really messed him up. In fact, when he came back, he really struggled to get back to where he was physically and mentally. But when people were looking at his business, they're like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, I got to run it like this, and I'm not going to be as good as he is to begin with, and I don't get to take any vacation. I need a life. I'm trying to get out so I can call my own shots, but part of my own shots is enjoying some time with my family, for goodness sakes." So think about if you can position your company so that, hey, you've got some leadership or some management, or you've got systems in place that you can take time away, implement that. All right, let's go through, I think this is the last one I've got of these comparisons. They're just similar, and I can go through a seminar where I go through over and over and over lots of different scenarios on it. But this gives you some perspective to maybe frame up your business. Business A is closely tied to the owner's reputation and relationship with the customers. I see this all the time. Hey, I'm the boss, I'm the man, and everybody's calling, Thomas or Anita or whatever and saying, hey, I want to do business with you, and your employees do all that stuff. And if in your preparation, if you're like this right now, start thinking about trying to shift gears and push the business to other people that can be the face of your business. You don't want to be the face of your business for every transaction, because people are going to worry that if you go, so may the customers. And it's very, very high level. Remember, we talked about earnings and risk. This is a high risk environment for a lot of people in their minds. You might not think so, or you might not care, but I can tell you that the market cares very, very, very much. So doing some things in your market and your business, and sometimes these don't take all that long. Step away. I had a gentleman who owned a food distribution company down in Sarasota, and by default, he actually had gotten kind of sick and decided that he would spend more time inside the office answering the phone calls and doing admin, and have his team of salesmen go out and start calling on clients and customers and building relationships, because that's the part he loved. He'd grown up as a young man in the industry, loved calling on people, and so he was driving the sales over and over again. Well, over 6 or so months, the marketplace got very used to his team of people that were the sales agents doing what they probably should have been doing all along. And he said, Brian, I never realized how powerful, in fact, my sales have gone up since I've been doing that. And when the new owner actually bought the business, he was actually delighted. He would say, hey, we've got a team out there that's calling on it. We're going to bring our products into your company. And they had this sort of synergy going on, but it was really a powerful thing. And he did this over a matter of months. It didn't have to take years and years to change that over. Okay. Besides the financial part of it, we work to create a storybook or a story on your business. So we create these, what we call CBRs, or comprehensive business reviews. We also call what we call an OBR, which is a teaser. That's a worksheet that looks attractive and interesting, doesn't give away the name of your business, but when people inquire about your business, we send that out going, this is a cool business, and here's more verification. Sign the non-disclosure, get with us and let's go over it. But this comprehensive business review, and I don't have an example to share with you, it's too many pages. Ours go from anywhere from 10 to 50 pages long, depending on the business that we're working with and how much we got to share, helps sell that quality, why this business is better than the other. We'll go over and talk about all these things we mentioned earlier, like, a business, the owner, the direction of sales, all those different factors, so that people can look at it going, wow, this is a really, really, really a great business. So if they're looking at two different businesses, as an example, that were both netting $2 million and generating, or grossing $2 million and generating $300,000 or whatever in the same industry, we're going to help you show the clients why your business is the one that they ought to buy. Okay. Keep in mind, and we recommend this to people buying businesses, more the individual buyers, like the corporate refugee and the exiting military, or the enterprising veteran and the international buyers, etc., that we tell them, hey, 30% of this decision that you're buying this business is based on your business. You got to show it to them. But I encourage the buyers to take 70% of it and ask themselves, what are you going to do with the business? Look at the future going forward. The general principle is people will buy based on potential. That potential is a lot within them, because your business has been running as it is for so long. Howard Schultz, had this potential that he saw in Starbucks. Well, Starbucks didn't really even sell hot coffee as the main item at the time, a hot product. They were selling beans and grinders. So his potential was this, but he bought this really high quality company. So we keep that in mind, and I keep that in mind. I share this with you as a seller or potential seller, because you can help frame that into perspective, because you want to show, maybe even share, hey, if I was going to be doing this the next 20 years, here's some things I would do, and be sensitive and be cognizant of that. Okay, the seller tips, show me the money, show the value, organize your business, put the packaging together, talk to the market, pre-qualify your business. You're going to negotiate. You're going to do due diligence. There's a whole lot more steps than these top 8 things, but it's really important. I look at this thing called organize, and that's where I'll talk to people that I work with and say, get all your stuff together in one place. We have a whole seminar just on organizing your business. And it's really valuable to get everything in one plot. You might say, yeah, I know I know where the lease is, I know where the contracts are, I know where the P&Ls and all that sort of stuff. But having it in one spot, having it organized is really, really valuable. In many cases, people are going to want to get to the point where they make an offer, they're going to ask for due diligence, and they're going to say, okay, I'm offering your business, you've agreed to my terms, now I need all this information. The last thing you need to be doing is going around going, wait a second, I can't find that, let me get hold of my accountant. Oh, my accountant's out for a week in the islands, and he'll be back next week. Can I get it to you in 10 or 15 days? And wait, I'm trying to find this lease. I'm going to get hold of the landlord. I got to go through whatever. Having that stuff together builds confidence in your buyers, and I can know that you probably heard the term. You may have heard the term. That time kills deals. Messing around and trying to find documents and getting your taxes and all that sort of stuff. If you put it in one place, and I guarantee, don't think you know where it all is. Create an online file if you feel comfortable doing that with a data room protection, or at least keep it in all one spot. We as intermediaries at Legacy have a data room where we put everything so it's locked and protected, and you have a code to get in, and only so many people can get to it, etc., to protect that data. But when somebody says, we've had agreement of terms, we can open that up and give them access to almost everything they need. Now, realize that there's going to be new stuff constantly added. It's have you filed your taxes yet? No, it's coming in another 30 days. We'll update that. Here's a P&L for the month. We got to update that, etc. But the bulk of all this stuff should all be in one place. That's really key, that organized. The packaging, like we talked about, is that comprehensive business review. Marketing is reaching out to people in confidential ways, pre-qualifying your business, and then pre-qualifying your buyers. A lot of times you're not going to know exactly how much money they have, but they're going to fill out a form saying, hey, we have $500,000, or we're pre-qualified with a bank, etc. There's going to be time to negotiate. Anyway, I want to show you this is even not the full spread of all the things that we do out there, but there's this qualifying process. There's the search, the database of the process. There's a deal making, the closing. So all these are just overall view steps. There's probably 130 different steps if you break down all the things that we do step by step by step in terms of doing this. So you might choose to do it on your own, but realize that it takes a lot of time, and you probably have something to do besides running your business every day. But if you want to, we can help you and even guide you through the process. So we'll talk to you about a couple different things out there. This was a business that was a skating business, and you can imagine roller skating. You might in your mind think, are people roller skating anymore? So we had this business that looked like this initially, Skateland, and we found there was a very, very small marketplace. We had to do direct mail to different skating companies. We had to reach out to organizations and clubs, and we finally found the right company. This is the remake on the outside. If I showed you the remake on the inside, it would blow your mind. But and this one actually had commercial real estate as well to it. So it's kind of cool out there. We don't try to do a whole lot of restaurants, but we do some of the bigger ones. You see the fine rainbow in the sky. This is an Irish little place I took this thing. This is sort of the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, so to speak, photograph I took out there. But this was an investment group. So this was a group that owned 40 or so restaurants around the East Coast of the United States. O'Brien's was a very, very sensitive restaurant because it was so well known. It was a really, really great restaurant. It still is a really great restaurant, and they actually had multiple locations. We sold them individually for this group out there, and I think we did a great job out there. But we had to go out and find just the right buyer. In this case, it was a group of people that owned other restaurants, and we had to go directly. One more case we'll talk about. This was a electrical lighting company, electrical contracting company, but they had worked on, this is probably one of the prettiest businesses that I've ever worked on. When you walk through this gallery, lights would light up in different rooms and show this beautiful stuff. Again, it was a very particular buyer that had to do this. Somebody was moving to the area, had a couple kids, needed to know that they were going to be making well over six figures after paying the note for the bank, and they had to have good credit because this was something that was SBA regulated. And again, we were able to value. They actually come to us because they talked to a commercial real estate agent who valued the property, but really didn't know how to take a look at adding in and blending in how the impact of the existing business was. So we went through the process of saying, of course, yeah, your land's got this value and your business has this value. And when you blend the two together, you've got to do some very specific things. You've got to account for occupancy in your cash flow of your business, and you also have to account for your value of your real estate and then the business cash flow itself. So we've had some really great victories. These are all multi-million-dollar companies. I won't go into the details of the number. I just want you to remember that every business has a value. And online, Stacy's answered some of the questions that people have been asking as we go through out there. But if you have any other questions at this, just let me know. So I also want to share with you this last thing. This is the 2021 Business Seller Success Guide. You can text the words BuyBizUSA to 22. That's supposed to say 22929. So I'm going to correct that right there. 229. Nope. All right, Stacy's just corrected it for me. It's 22828. Anyway, text 22828 and type the words BuyBizUSA, or just email us at biz@BuyBizUSA. Sorry about getting that text thing wrong. That's a new program that our marketing team has come up with. I got some young people trying to teach me the right way to market. Of course, it would be the right way if I learned how to type properly before doing the presentation. So I'll have a little humble pie on that piece of it. But text 22828 or just send us an email. Our phone number is there too. You can check our website at buybizusa.com. Okay? This is Brian Stevens, and this was about how to sell a business and share a legacy and get the best price. So start now, even if this is not on your horizon for today. Reach out to us. We do a program where we do a valuation analysis, a market price assessment, and give you an idea of some things that you can do for your business for a very reasonable price. If you'd just like to have an introductory idea of your marketplace, etc. If you'd just like to have a general quick questions or two, we'd love to talk to you as well. Okay, so reach out to us, and again, with the proper text number, text BuyBizUSA to 22828 if you'd like, and we'll request an email and then send you the email, or you can email us. Thank you so much for listening and putting up with me. I love what I do and have a great time with it, and I hope I'm not too overly enthusiastic, and I hope I've answered all the questions that you've had regarding this process. Take care. Thanks.